and welcome to the Actual Tech Media MegaCast. My name is Jess, and I am excited to be here with you all today. But before we jump into our content, I have some basic information to cover with you. Let's kick off our day here today by taking a quick tour of your audience console. And we're going to start with the questions window. Now, if you haven't already said hi, there is a whole audience of cool humans out there, so reach out and give a wave to the other members of the Actual Tech Media community. Also, keep in mind that if you have any tech issues today, a browser refresh is going to fix just about anything. But if those tech gremlins are clinging on, no problem. Just throw a comment in the question section and our crew will be there to help. We also want this to be an informative webinar for you. So throughout today's MegaCast, we hope you'll get engaged and ask all of your burning questions. Not only will we have team members responding to you over live chat, we will also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of our presentations. And if we do not get to your question during the webinar, don't worry, because the awesome experts that we have here with us today will be following up with you after we wrap. All right, next up on our tour, there are going to be lots of cool aha moments in the MegaCast today, and if you want to share those with your community, we've made it nice and easy for you. You can use the Twitter button right there in your audience console, and the hashtag for today's MegaCast will automatically get added to your post. And our last stop on this guided tour, be sure to check out the Handouts tab for some resources and takeaways from our speakers here today. We have an info pack collection of solution briefs, white papers, data sheets, free trials, ebooks, upcoming webinars, and more. So many great resources, so be sure to go explore. And if that wasn't enough fun, we also have some exciting prizes we will be giving away throughout the MegaCast today. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about those later on, but a few quick reminders for you all. You do need to be in attendance here live at the webinar in order to qualify to win a prize, and we will follow up with all winners after we wrap the MegaCast today. Now, all winners must submit an IRS Form W-9 to Actual Tech Media, and all winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. Now, hey, if you're not sure what those are, no problem. You can find the full T's and C's in that Handouts tab. Again, just click into the Handouts section, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll find the full T's and C's waiting for you there. Now, the absolute most important thing to remember here today is that we love getting all your insightful questions during these live webinars. In fact, we love it so much that we have a special additional prize for all you inquisitive folks out there. In today's MegaCast, we will be giving away a prize for the best question asked in each of our sessions. Now, the expert speakers and teams will review all the questions asked after the webinar, which means that even if your question does not get read out in a live session, there is still a chance to win. If you are a lucky winner here today and would like to donate the value of your prize, we have several wonderful organizations that we partner with. So let us know when we follow up about winning, and we will get that rolling for you. Again, we are so happy to have you all here with us live at the MegaCast today, and we want to keep that good feeling going. So let's connect on social. Reach out and connect with Actual Tech Media on Twitter and LinkedIn. We have lots of great content, and we always want to hear from you. Now, if you're looking for more awesome content right away after we wrap, you want to jump right in, make sure that you subscribe to the Actual Tech Media channel on YouTube. Another fun way to win a prize and to grow this awesome community is to refer an industry friend or coworker to the Actual Tech Media webinar series. Now, you're going to find a link to do that right there in that Handouts tab, and you will also be automatically redirected after we wrap today. Now, both you and your coworker, your friend, could win a prize, and we actually hold those drawings every month. So be sure you refer somebody awesome before you head out today. It could quite literally be a win-win situation. Next, we have a cool opportunity for the decision makers out there to get connected with new and emerging tech and innovative vendors. Here's how it works. All you need to do is click on the link in your Handouts tab and fill out the application. Then the Actual Tech crew will match you with some vendors that we think you should be chatting with based on your needs. There will also be fun opportunities that you can choose to join in, like surveys or test running new solutions, extended demos, and so on. You'll get some chances to win extra prizes, you'll chat with great people, and you will learn about the hottest new trends in tech. So be sure to apply, or hey, send that link to a decision maker in your team. Now, I want to take a quick minute here to remind you about one of my favorite resources, and that is ransomware.org. You can find everything you need to know about ransomware, how to prepare, how to prevent and recover. The site is jam-packed with information, helpful tips, checklists, strategic approaches, case studies, everything you need in one place. So wherever you are in your ransomware preparedness journey, there is something for you at ransomware.org. So go check it out and start exploring. All right, I have one more exciting resource I have to tell you about today, and that is the Gorilla Guy Book Club. It's going to give you access to free enterprise IT books authored by top industry experts, so you can stay up to date on trending enterprise technology. And yes, these books are going to work on your Kindle, your mobile device, and they are completely free, super easy. You can download these awesome resources at gorilla.guide, and there's a link for you in the handouts tab as well. Okay, well, we've covered a lot of important things already, and I don't know about you all, but I am excited to dive in. So let's get rolling. All right. Well, hello, hi, welcome, and happy almost Friday. We're almost there, folks. Welcome to the MegaCast, and I hope you are ready to have a great day today, because today we are talking about supporting a remote workforce. And this is one of my all-time favorite topics, because when we talk about this, when we talk about these remote workforces, we are covering all of the coolest things, right? We can spend some time exploring security. We can talk about zero trust principles. We can talk about training programs, employee engagement, new tools, legacy tools, integrations, AI and ML, basically everything, and especially that all-important human element, which just adds a fun little bit of chaos, doesn't it? Don't we as humans, anytime we're dealing with the human element, it's a little bit of that unknown. It is part psychology, it's part technology, lots of innovation, and basically just a super cool puzzle that every organization seems to put together just slightly differently, right? Because the solutions have to fit your team. They have to make sense for your infrastructure and especially for your culture. And that makes the puzzle a little bit different for everyone, which is why, again, this is one of my favorite topics. So with all of that said, I think we should jump in pretty quick here. We're going to go over just a few housekeeping things, and then we will dive right into the good stuff. Once again, my name is Jess Steinbach. I'm a moderator here at Actual Tech Media, and my fellow moderators, Scott Becker and Keith Ward, will be here with us on live chat today. Well, speaking of the good stuff, let's talk about prizes. Today on the MegaCast, you could win one of 3 Microsoft Surface Pro 9s, and that is not even including the $300 Amazon gift card that we will be giving away every 30 minutes. So lots of great prizes coming your way. If you have any questions about those terms and conditions, again, they are listed for you in the handouts tab. And a reminder that you do need to be here live and present at the MegaCast in order to win. All right, well, with that, we're going to kind of get things rolling a little differently today. So instead of doing a keynote chat where you sit and you listen, I want to ask all of you to participate. I want to hear from you. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. There's no wrong answers here. We're not showing this data to anyone. It's not going to show your name or anything. I just want to hear from you about your experience as an employee or part of a workforce right now that might be a little different than it looked a couple of years ago. So I'm going to ask you to answer some polls, and if you have any responses you want to add to the conversation, throw that in the PowerPoint, boy, oh my goodness, throw that in the questions window, and feel free to elaborate on any of this. And I'll try to read out a few as we go, and I'm also going to show you the results of all the polls. So I'm going to ask you questions, I'm going to show you the results, so you will see what other people are answering, not their names. Again, I promise you, totally anonymous here. All right, so let's start with an easy one. I want to know, are you currently working fully remote? Yay for socks, yay for pajamas. All that matters is if you're wearing your professional shirt, right? And then the rest is bunny slippers. Hybrid, I go in when I want. Sweet freedom. Or, hey, I'm fully in the office. Love that in-person vibe. We're all in. So are you currently working fully remote, hybrid, or fully in the office? Let us know. No wrong answers. Just kind of curious where you're at. And I see a few of you. Russell says, love the flexibility to be more productive. Flexibility as in like being able to go in and out when you choose, Russell, that hybrid flexibility, or you like the flexibility of being remote. And that's interesting. I know from some people they're way more productive when they're at home, and some people way more productive when they're at work. Russell likes the hybrid model, the flexibility. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay. All right. So let's see what you all said. Dun, 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 dun. So you guys said that you are about 30% fully remote, about 41% hybrid, and about 28% fully in the office. And I see from a few of you chiming in saying semi-hybrid, once a week you're going into the office. And some of you saying can work from home but prefer to go in. Interesting. Yeah. I also really need to be with people sometimes. Been working at home since 2013 when I moved out of state. Yeah. Okay. So you were ahead of the game, Paula. All right. Let's try another question. I want to get a little mathy with all of you. So if your team is remote or hybrid, what percent? So are you, let's just say, let's go with remote or like flexible. So we'll just say flexible. So are you about 0 to 25% remote hybrid? Are you 26 to 50% remote hybrid? Or are you 51 to 75% remote hybrid? Or are we talking like, no, almost your entire workforce is kind of remote hybrid? Let us know kind of where you're at on that. Always fully in the office, Tyler. Interesting. Okay. Well, then, Tyler, my next question is also going to apply to you because I have a follow-up question on that. So I see a lot of people saying that they're going in once in a while. Oh, Andrew says they closed and sold our office. Yeah, that happened to a lot of people. Why keep the overhead? I know a lot of people that work in co-work spaces and really like that as kind of a mixed option. All right, so let's see the results. Let's see what you guys thought. So you guys are about 28% in that 0 to 25. And I think that's our second largest category. Then 15% in 26 to 50, 21% in 51 to 75, and more than 76% of you are fully remote hybrid. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm reading that wrong. 34% of you are saying you're more than 76% remote. So it looks like the biggest number of you are in that high category of almost an entirely remote or hybrid team. All right, so that's interesting. Let's try another. I think I have 2 more questions for you. Are you happy with your current work setup, or would you change it if you could? So the answers here, I work remote and I love it. I work hybrid and it's the best of both worlds, or I work fully in the office and it's perfect for me. And then, oh, how I wish we worked. And then please tell me, if you wish things were different, what would you change? If you could wave a magic wand right now and have a different work from home setup, what would that be? Would love to have the option to be fully remote. Yeah, I see that. Let's go 4-day work week. Yeah. You know what? While we're wishing for things, yeah, let's just throw in some, yeah. Okay. I'm seeing some really great answers coming in. Would love more of a hybrid option for work-life balance. I wish we just worked from home. Having the options are always great. Yeah, having that freedom and flexibility so that you can choose what's right for you. And it's so tricky because I do know a lot of people who really like having the flexibility, but then get really frustrated when they need someone, they need to work in person in order to be productive, and they, other people want to work remote. So they're having meetings where half people are virtual and half the people are in person, and they just get frustrated with it. But, that's where I feel like that's where tools and solutions, just saying this doesn't work. Well, are we trying to apply old systems to new structures? Are we applying old tools to new and different workforce environments? And maybe that's part of the problem, is expecting things to work the way they used to work, and not in changing how we think and how we interact and the tools that we're using to keep up with it. Let's see what you all said. So you all said that you are about 32% I work remote and I love it. 42% I work hybrid and I love it. You said 11% said I work fully in the office and it's perfect. And then about 13% of you said I wish things were a little bit different. And I'm just clicking through some of your answers here because I'm seeing, I wish I could be sitting in my deer stand while working. All right, Tyler, that's the first time I've heard that. Work from deer stand is the next category. All right, I'm going to ask you one more question, and keep these answers coming in. I'm really loving hearing from all of you. I'm a solo employee. My office is where I open my computer. That's a great way to go. Yeah, working in Bali. All right, so what's the biggest problem that you face with remote workers? Are you struggling with authentication? Are you struggling? Shadow IT, I know we talk about it all the time, but every time I hear it, I just kind of picture this like evil villain. Proper access, is that the problem? Or tech support for anyone that used to watch the IT Crowd. Have you tried turning it off and on again? I'm sorry, are you from the past? Is one of my favorite lines from that show. All right, so what are the biggest problems that you guys are facing on your team? What are the things that are really keeping you up at night or making you want to pull your hair out? I have a friend who works in IT for a big construction company, and he was showing me a photo that this woman sent him. She couldn't figure out why her phone wasn't working. And it turned out, folks, she had microwaved it. She had microwaved her phone. She put it down in the microwave when she was getting her coffee, right? She put her coffee in the microwave, put her phone down, had it in the same hand, put her phone down with the coffee, microwaved it, and then was super mad at him that he couldn't get her phone to work after she had microwaved it. So, you know, sometimes the problems are hard to deal with. Florence says none of the options I've listed. Florin, if we don't have the option in there for you, what is the biggest problem that you have? I'm curious about that. What's the biggest thing? Eric says she's trying to get 7G. I think one option missing is having people access data from overseas, for example, European data or government data. That's a great one, Vinay. Thank you. All right. This is great. All right, Jennifer likes the microwave phone, so I'm going to tell you one more from this guy, and I'll show you the results while we're doing that. This gentleman sent a packet up to a remote workplace and said, hey, I need you to install this shelf so that I can come up and put a router on it for their remote office. And he sent them a piece of wood and some, things to hold it up. And this is a construction company, remember. And he got up there and they had nailed the wood that he sent for this shelf on all four corners against the wall. So they basically made a flat plate on the wall instead of making a shelf. So he realized that he had to be very specific about, hey, this is the ask that I have for you. Please build me a horizontal shelf that I will put a horizontal piece of equipment on. Do not nail this wood to the wall. Although, hey, this is, yeah. And actually Bill just wrote in user common sense. So this is, yes, you're right, Christopher. Technically they did make a very narrow, probably 2 centimeter shelf for him. So maybe that was how they interpreted that. All right, well, we're at about 56% technical support there. And then the next category being about 32% saying proper access. After that, authentication. And very last is that dark and shadowy shadow IT. All right, well, Florence says that they miss the water cooler discussions, which are important to relationships in the office. Boy, that's, you know what? And one of the things I wish we had time to talk about, I was going to ask, and then I knew we were just going to run out of time in the polls. I go back and forth about employee engagement with virtual. Do you guys like doing those things? Like our company does these really fun challenges. Like they sent everybody paint kits and then we all got on a virtual call and did a Bob Ross paint thing. And we all followed a Bob Ross paint video and then had to show each other our paintings. Some of them were just hilarious. That was a really fun one. And then there's other ones that were like we do Lego pieces. Anyways, those virtual engagement things, I'm curious if you guys have any ideas for what has worked or if you find that those work. I wanted to talk about it more, but we're going to have to keep going. So I'm going to move things along. But if you do have any thoughts on that, let me know. And otherwise we'll tag into that on hopefully a future MegaCast. Murray says remote staff installed 6 rack servers upside down. Go figure. Ugh. All right. Well, we're going to move things along, folks, because as fun as this has been, and boy, that was a great way to kick off our session here. I feel like you guys are all, ready to talk about these things. And that's awesome because it's not anything simple, right? It's not easy one-shot answers when we're talking about remote work. And there's going to be some really cool stuff that we're digging into today. So keep those questions coming. Keep bringing that engagement and get involved with our speakers. Speaking of our incredible speakers, let's bring our first one on out here with us. I am so excited to introduce you all to this first expert presenter who is a familiar face on the MegaCast. So you all know that we're in for a treat. We are going to be chatting with Siva Sekaran Rajaseskaran. Sorry, Siva. I thought I could do that all in one go. I got close. Siva, thank you so much for being here with us today to kick off our MegaCast. You have the longest, most beautiful, complicated name, and you win the prize for that. And I am so excited to hear what you have in store for us today from Palo Alto Networks. Siva, of course, is the Director of Product Marketing at Palo Alto Networks. Siva, thank you for being here with us. Take it away.
Just thank you so much. I would thank my parents for the longest name and a complicated name that they could give me, but you were very, very close to pronouncing it right. Thank you. For those of you who are hearing me for the first time, I'm Siva. I'm a product manager from Palo Alto Networks for the Prism Access product line. Happy to be here talking to you all about how do you secure your remote workforce. and listening to the polls and the responses for the poll survey, I'm pretty sure that all of us are aligned on many of those questions that were asked. And I was still to see supporting remote workers has been one of the top challenges, almost for like 54% of the people. We'll dive deep into many of those things that we want to talk about in this time. Securing remote workforce is what Palo Alto Networks is offering through our SSC SASE platform called Prisma Access. Now, if you think about it, all those things that all the survey that just recently did, and we all know that there is hybrid work is going to be here to stay. We started with almost everybody being at the work location, and then pandemic hit, and then everybody was remote. Now, today I'm doing this call from the office location, but tomorrow, Friday, I'm going to be working from home. Almost everybody is in this boat, if not all of them. But this is going to be staying, is what we are hearing, and this is what the surveys results from this session also showed up. The next one is, digital transformation has always been happening, but now we see that in a much accelerated fashion. These are all the applications moving to the cloud, all the migration from on-prem authentication to a cloud-based authentication, AD to Azure AD. Those type of transformations are all happening, and that is going to continue, and that is going to continue in a rapid pace. And the last trend, no surprises here, is the use of the AI. And AI and machine learning models have been used for many purposes over several years so far. But with the recent the ChatGPT and other generative AI tools, what is going to happen is, and it's not just for the precision controls that we were using AI and ML models, we will start to use them for purposes such as being able to troubleshoot properly, being able to onboard and configure things easily, being able to research and ask questions and get answers. All of those things that we would usually do on a daily basis, or you can call them as day two operation, that simplification through AI is something that I'm seeing as a trend that we will continue to see. Now, clearly, with all this transformation, use is going to be remote, applications moving to the cloud, and a lot of use of the AI. It means that whatever we have got so far is not going to be useful for you to secure their access. And in the survey, we also were talking about get me, let me in, or give me access to those applications. How do you enable access to those users who are remote? And if they're not able to get access to those applications, how do you troubleshoot and support them remotely and get them back online so that they can do their work? So productivity without impacting users' experience, and also without affecting without frustrating the end user is going to be key. And that is what we are saying here, that today what we got is not going to be sufficient. And this is something which we have just talked about. Applications are gone to the cloud. You got SaaS applications, cloud applications, legacy applications in the legacy data centers and the internet. Users could be at home, office location, on the go. All of these users are accessing all these applications from multiple different places. And how do you go about providing secure access to these users for these applications? At the same time, how do you provide the best user experience for your employees, partners, and contractors? That is the game. That is the challenge that we are all facing today. Now, what you need to do for all of this is a SASE or SSC architecture. And what does that mean? This is the convergence of networking and the security in the cloud, and deliver that from the cloud for all of your users, wherever they are, for all the applications, wherever that application could be. Now, what does that mean? You need to be able to connect users to applications. And if that doesn't ring a bell, this is the zero trust that we're talking about. Verify before you give access to any user to any application. Do not trust anything. There's an implicit deny for everything before you give access to those applications. You need to have an exceptional network, and that means when a packet leaves a user's machine on the way to the application, it should be going through a premium backbone or an exceptional network that can give the best user experience for end users. The third one is, day two operations are complex, and we are always flooded with too many alerts, too many tickets to handle, and too many change controls to deal with. How do you go about managing all of that in the most simplest way? And can you use AI to do those operations? That is what you need from a unified SASE architecture, are a solution that can offer you security from the cloud. Now, what do we got? From Palo Alto Networks, we provide you zero trust. We talk about ZTNA 2.0. We have an SD-WAN solution that is fully integrated into our architecture, and we have something called as autonomous digital experience management, which is powered by AI to give you the best end user experience for the end users, and also gives you the best operational experience for practitioners like you and me who are managing and controlling the architecture and the network and their policies for the enterprise. Let's go deeper now. What is ZDNA 2.0 from Prisma Access? Now everybody talks about zero trust network access. If you talk to, among the people that is on the call, if you ask each one, they will have a meaning for what they mean by zero trust. To us, from Palo Alto Networks, we want to make this very, very simple. It starts with providing least privilege access, meaning don't give access to anything until you have been able to verify the user, verify the device that they're connecting from. Least privilege access and fine-grained access control is important. Now, it's not just at the connect time. You need to be able to do this continuous trust verification all the time. The posture of the user, the posture of the device, and even the application vulnerabilities can all change. It's not sufficient if you just verify the user, verify the device and the application only at the time of the connection. You need to be able to do this continuously throughout the session that the user has with that application or any of the other applications. Continuous trust verification is important. The next one is you connect the user to the application, you verify who's the user, verify what is the device they're connecting from. All is great, but what is the user doing in that application is also critical. You know that on a given application, a malicious user could do a specially crafted message on that web application, which would mean the application could crash down, that can cause a DDoS impact, or they could plant a malware on that web server. And any user who visits that website or visit that web application can download this malware. It means they're getting infected. There's a malicious insider story. And also, if you think about a normal employee, a happy employee like you and me, now no, we are not fully protected from the attackers. Our machines can get infected and compromised by any type of malware that is out there. Phishing attacks are very common. When any of those happens, our machine gets compromised. And I'm a regular employee, happy employee. I'm trying to do the right things, but the malware on my machine could do all of those things that I talked about that a malicious insider could do. That malware could be calling home. That malware could be sending a specially crafted message to the web application or a non-web application. And all of those could mean impact to the enterprise, compromise of the user, infection of the devices. You want to be able to protect against all those. So just connecting user to the application following the zero trust network access principle is alone not sufficient. Quote unquote zero trust network access. A true zero trust network access actually means, in addition to connecting users to the application, you have to verify the user and the app and the device. You also need to be inspecting every packet from the user, every flow between the user and the app, to make sure that there is no malware, there is no threat. You prevent them as soon as you identify them. It's not just the known threats. There are zero-day malware, zero-day threats that we all keep hearing about. The solution must be able to not only detect and block known threats, it also has to be able to detect and block unknown threats. That's why we talk about continuous security inspection. Security should not just be for web application, it should be for all applications. Web, non-web should not matter. Client initiated connection, server initiated connection, be able to support them all. Applications that are using fixed ports, standard ports, and dynamically changing ports, all applications must be supported. At the same time, whenever the breach happens, attackers are after ransomware. They would try to exfiltrate data, which would be a critical crown jewel of your enterprise. You need to be able to protect against those data exfiltration. So protect your data, protect your crown jewels is also key. You have to do all of this for all of your users wherever they are, from whatever device that they could be connecting from, managed, unmanaged, their own personal devices, from whichever location they're connecting from, home, campus, or they're on the go. That is what Prisma Access is offering for you. We recommend you to evaluate any solution that you're looking for securing your remote workforce to make sure that it meets all these 5 principles that we are highlighting here as part of ZTNA 2.0. Now let's go to the next one, where we can build all these great products. You can do the due diligence and identifying what is the best product for my workforce. End of the day, none of this is going to matter if the user experience is bad. So you need to be able to provide the best user experience for your end users. And how do we do it? Prisma Access is running in the cloud. I talked to you about it. And what we use is the public cloud providers, the hyperscalers such as GCP and AWS, to run this infrastructure for you in the cloud. And it's a cloud native solution, leveraging the hyperscalers and using their architecture to be able to support the security functions that comes from Palo Alto Networks. It's a single pass architecture, meaning once the traffic goes through Prisma Access, we do all the checks in one single pass for threat, for URL filtering, for DNS security, for data protection, and everything else. And the next one is you need to have a very resilient and dependable infrastructure for your users to connect and be able to access those applications. And that is why we build this in the public cloud providers such as GCP and AWS. We not only provide regional redundancy, we also provide multi-cloud redundancy also. That way you get a highly resilient, dependable infrastructure for yourself. Not only that, every customer from Palo Alto Networks for Prisma Access, they get a completely isolated, dedicated data plane, and which means you own your fate. None of the other customers that we have will ever influence or impact the performance that you would receive because they abuse or overuse the resources that we have for them. Every resource has been fully dedicated for you because it's an isolated, dedicated data plane that you get. The last one is the autonomous digital experience management. So how do you support your remote workforce? 54% of the people, if I remember the number correct, mentioned that is the biggest problem that you're facing today. With our autonomous digital experience management, you will be able to solve it. What is this? This is an ability for you to get a single pane of glass view, which will give you a segment-wise insights between the user and the application. What I mean by that is a user is accessing an application, and then they are going through multiple segments before they reach the application. What are these segments? A user connecting to a Wi-Fi, and from the Wi-Fi, they use the internet service provider, Comcast, AT&T, or Verizon. And from there, they go through the security stack, such as Prisma Access. And the last mile, if you see from this side, it is the application itself. The problem could be in any of these places. Wi-Fi could be down. Even before that, the machine could be running on high CPU and low on memory. The Wi-Fi could be bad. The ISP could have been experiencing a regional outage. And it could be the security infrastructure, which may be overburdened here. Or it could be the application, such as Microsoft Teams or Slack, or your private application, which is not behaving properly. It could be a problem anywhere. When your workforce calls you and say, hey, I'm not able to access an application, or I am seeing a degraded experience in terms of performance, with autonomous digital experience management, with full clarity, you will be able to immediately tell where the problem is and why is the user experiencing that issue. And if there is impacting lot of users in the enterprise, you'll be able to tell who are those users who have been impacted by the same problem. And that allows you to reduce your mean time to repair or resolve and close out the tickets as quickly as you want to. That is autonomous digital experience management for you. Now, another thing that is very key is, to operationally simplify everything, Prisma Access is delivering this solution using our unified management console. It's one single console for all the use cases that you got. Think about securing private applications. Think about securing the users from bad things on the internet. Think about protecting the data, and the visibility into shadow IT, and enforcing the SaaS application controls. All of this available from one single management console. We have loaded them with predefined best practices, which means you do not have to create policies for most of the stuff. Policies are in place. You use them that matches with the best practices that we have. Unified policy, one policy for all things. You do not want to write policy for access control in one place, write a policy somewhere else for file controls, write a policy somewhere else for threat prevention. Because once you do those in different places, then if you want to go make a change, then you would be thinking about, did I make the change here? Do I have to make the change elsewhere? What are the policies are going to be tied up to this? That's a nightmare. And how do we simplify it? We simplify it by allowing you to create the policies in one single place, one single rule that says user just can access this application if she is connecting from a corporate managed device. And when she is accessing this application, she is allowed to upload these type of files, when she's uploading a sensitive file, we will block. If she is downloading a file that is malicious, we will block. That rule, all of those can be done in one single place as one single rule. Logs are important if you want to troubleshoot things, and in many cases logs alone are not going to be sufficient. You need to have the ability to do packet captures. If you have moved things to the cloud, how do you do packet captures from a solution such as that uses SSC or a SASE architecture? That is why from Palo Alto Networks we use one single data lake. That data lake brings in all the logs from all the places into one single place, which means easy troubleshooting, easy way for you to collect evidences and be able to remediate incidents using the data that we already have. And like I said, packet captures are important. And if you remember the SEC's recent announcement about being able to provide evidence for a breach in less than a few hours, you need to be able to collect those evidences whenever that breach happens. And those breaches are easy to understand and be able to inform the SEC if you have the packet captures. So Prisma Access is the first solution in the SSC SASE space to have introduced what we call as traffic replication. With traffic replication, you can turn on, you can get all the packet captures, even though those packets are not going through your data center anymore. That's what Prisma Access is offering you. Now, let's go to, I will take a few more minutes to talk about the use cases here. The first one is replacing your existing VPN solution. And these are devices that are remote. They want to access your applications, private applications. Traditionally, this was done by VPNs, but VPNs can give you IPsec-based access to those applications. There is also access control that is possible. It just stops there. What you need is not just access control based on user group, not just the IPsec or SSL based connectivity. You also need the ability to inspect the packet between user and the application to see if there is any threat. That is what Prisma Access does for you. So Prisma Access provides secure remote access to your private applications. Your applications could be in your data center or could be in your private cloud, public cloud. And while we give you that access, we are inspecting every packet between user and the app for threat, for URLs, for DNS based threats, etc. That is one single platform to give you access to your private applications from any device that the user is using. It can be iOS, Android, Chromebooks, Mac, and Windows, obviously, and the Linux platform. That's the first use case. The second use case is you want to be able to make sure that the users, when they are remote, they're still protected by a secure web gateway. And because bad things are out there in the internet, you need to be able to block those bad things from reaching your end user's machine and protecting your users from phishing type of attacks. And that is what Prisma Access does with our secure web gateway. And as you can see here, there's not much of a difference between the previous use case and the following use case that we're talking about, which is secure web gateway. It's the same architecture, same infrastructure, same management console, and it's one unified agent that you got on the end user's machine. It will give you secure access to private application. It will also secure the user's traffic to the internet. Okay. The next one I want to talk about is the advanced SaaS and DLP. Shadow IT is something we just talked about earlier, and some of you were interested in understanding what is the shadow IT. Now, that is the solution that we also have fully integrated into Prisma Access. As you can see, nothing changed. The same platform, same management console, in the same using the same policy. You can now control whether the user is coming from managed or unmanaged, doesn't matter. You can say what applications are using. With nearly 65,000 application database that we have, we will be able to identify those SaaS applications your end users are visiting. For those applications, we'll give you risk scores. And these risk scores can be based on multiple different attributes. We use nearly 50 different attributes to score an application as risky or less risky or normal type of applications. And we also understand that for each enterprise, what is risky could be different. That is why we provide the ability for you as an administrator to change the weights of different attributes that we are measuring, and that way you can tailor the risk scores for your exact enterprise use cases. And that's the visibility to the SaaS applications and the risk scores of those applications. The next step from there is obviously to the control. And how do you do this control? You can tag these applications as sanctioned, unsanctioned, or tolerated. And any unsanctioned application, our recommendation is to block. Sanctioned applications could be used. And sanctioned applications, while they can be used, you should also make sure that you're able to understand if it is a personal or a corporate type of SaaS application. Gmail, for example, could be a corporate Gmail, there could be a personal Gmail also. You cannot just allow Gmail. You need to be looking at, hey, this is a corporate Gmail, so I'm allowing the user to log in, to connect, to upload and download. If it is a personal Gmail, we can let them go connect, and you may block them from uploading contents, or you may block them from uploading any company confidential data to those through that email. So being able to differentiate between a personal content and a corporate content tenant is important, and that is something which Prisma Access with our next gen CASP we are able to do. And data classification is also important. Every application, sanctions as application that you have, you can onboard them using APIs to Prisma Access. By onboarding them, we have the ability to scan these applications for data, to automatically classify them based on 1,000 plus predefined patterns and profiles that we have. And we will also be able to look for malwares and threats in those SaaS applications. This is, if you've been following the types of attacks that we see today, it's very common. SaaS applications have become a place where attackers are now hosting malicious content. And you want to be able to discover those, block them, quarantine them immediately, so that users who are naive, users who are not security conscious, when they go to these SaaS applications, they can be fully protected, and they don't have to think what they can click and not click. It should become much easier, simpler, and for the end users as they access these applications. Now, those are the things that I got for you. One last thing I want to say before I hand it over to Jess is, our product has been recognized by Gartner under different categories. We are the only leader in the single vendor SASE space, recognized by Gartner in 2023. And that's a testament for what we have been thinking and what we have been delivering for customers like you. We got the access, and we got the SD-WAN solution fully integrated and from one single vendor, which means consolidation of products, which means easy ability to remediate, detect and remediate incidents, and provide the productivity for your end users. That is single vendor SASE with the only leaders there. And we are the leaders on the SD-WAN Magic Quadrant also. And we are leaders in SSE, Security Service Edge, from 2023. That is the industry recognition for the product that we just discussed. With that, I want to take over, connect with Jess to see if there are any questions that we want to answer. Jess.
Yeah, Siva, thank you so much. Boy, every time we have you on, I learn something new, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful presentation. So I appreciate that. Before we get into questions, I do want to point out to the audience there that we've got a poll up for all of you. Another poll, more polls. The start was just your warm-up round. What we want to know this time is what additional information you would like to get about the Palo Alto solution. So think about what's going to be helpful for you, what follow-up is going to be best for you, and click on that poll. This is the easy button, right? You don't even have to do any research. Palo Alto is going to send it right to you. While you're clicking on that poll, Siva, we are so short on time, but I'm going to sneak in this one question because really we got probably 5 or 6 questions that were all really focused around bandwidth. And so I'm wondering if you can address people concerned that, it's going to slow things down or it's going to take up too much space. What do you want to talk about regarding bandwidth?
Sure. It's a great question. Bandwidth, throughput, latency are top of mind, especially when users are remote and we are trying to connect and access an application. There are multiple ways that you can make sure that the user experience is guaranteed for end users. It starts with having an infrastructure that is purpose built for delivering security without compromising the end user's experience. So we build this, like I said, we build this on GCP and AWS. We have premium partnership with Google. It means when traffic traverses through the cloud, it is using the same infrastructure that Google is using for serving the YouTube content. The 4K HD videos that we watch on YouTube is the same infrastructure that we are also using to deliver the packets between the user and the application. That's one. The second step that we have done is Users could be anywhere. User could be connecting from multiple places in the globe, and you need to be able to take the user close to the edge as quickly as you can. That is why Prisma Access has its presence in nearly 100 plus locations. I think it is 125 plus, I could say, 100 plus locations, which means users in the US West will immediately connect to some location in the US West. A person traveling from here to, let's say, to Japan, they will be connecting to a location closer to Japan. In that way, we minimize the connectivity and the latency that they would experience if they were to kind of backhaul because they're going somewhere else. We are not stopping there. We are also going to be very soon, as part of our SASE Converge, which is happening on November 15th and 16th. You'll hear more about this. We're also looking at accelerating the application also. So we did the fabric, which is faster. We expanded the fabric to the places closest to the user. We're stopping there. We will also find ways to optimize the TCP stack, wherein applications can be accelerated. I would recommend that the users who are wanting to understand more about the end user experience join the SASE Converge and to learn more about what I just told last, which is app acceleration, a completely new thing. The very first time in the SASE SSE space, we will hear about it.
That's awesome. I love that call to action. And speaking of which, like I said, Siva, we're really short on time, so I'm going to have to leave it. You have a ton of questions coming in, so if you have some time to stick around in live chat, that'd be amazing. Also, we will make sure that all the questions asked, even if we don't get to them today in live chat, get answered via email. So keep those questions coming in, and Palo Alto will get back to you, and so we'll get you some responses. Siva, before you go, though, speaking of those next steps, that follow-up, what would you want everyone in the audience to do if they want to get started with Palo Alto?
I would say two things. One, if you want to know more, there's a SASE Converge that's happening on November 15th and 16th this year. saseconverge.paloaltonetworks.com. That is the website. I would ask the audience here to register and join that session. There's going to be tons of innovation that we will be talking about. What I just gave you is what we got so far. And the latest innovation, the greatest things that we're building will all be showcased, demonstrated to the audience on November 15th and 16th. saseconverge.paloaltonetworks.com.
Perfect. And actually, Siva, we've made it even easier for everyone out there. If you go to that handouts tab, click on the link, click on the Palo Alto link there in your handouts tab. It'll take you right to that webpage, and you can register for that event. It sounds so cool. I cannot wait. And Siva, thank you so much. It is always such a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for kicking us off on such a great note today.
Thank you, Jess. Happy to be here.
And thanks to everyone out there who clicked on the poll. Keep those answers coming in. While you're doing that, I'm going to give away a prize. We are going to give away a $300 Amazon gift card. I'm doing this quickly because we got to get to our next session. So reminder that you do need to be here live and present at the MegaCast. And our very first winner of a $300 Amazon gift card is Jeffrey Drury of Kentucky. Jeffrey Drury of Kentucky, you have won a $300 Amazon gift card. We will follow up with you after we wrap, so stay tuned for that. And don't forget about that best question gift card coming at you from each session, as well as many more chances to win. Lots more chances to win. It's coming at you. We got lots of fun left ahead. Well, speaking of lots of fun left ahead, let's get into our very next session. I am so excited to introduce you all to our next expert speaker. As you can see, we are keeping the good times rolling here on the MegaCast because we get to chat with Tyler Gittens, Solutions Engineer at 1Password. Tyler, I am so excited to hear from you and what's up at 1Password. So I'm going to step back, hand things on over to you. Take it away. Tyler, you with us? Uh-oh. Hang tight. Tyler, can you hear me? Hello? Is it me you're looking for? Okay, I promise.
Hello, everyone.
There we go. Tyler, you saved listening to me sing Adele over here.
Beautiful.
All you, Tyler, take it away.
All right, let's kick it off. We'll go ahead and start the presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tyler Gittens, coming from the 1Password team, here today to talk about securing a remote workforce with 1Password. A little bit about myself. I'm a solutions engineer here at 1Password, but most importantly, a super fan of 1Password itself. Excited today to show you the way. Our agenda around remote work today with 1Password is talks about securing credentials, maintaining focus when it comes to those pesky passwords, sharing passwords with our shared vaults, developer tools to enable your developers to work efficiently at home, and free family accounts that we give to every business user. First up, securing credentials. At 1Password, encryption is the key. Our bread and butter and our philosophy has always been zero knowledge proof. And the way that we've designed that is with two secret key derivation. Essentially, when you create your 1Password account, there are two secret keys that you create that only are known to you as the user. And that's used to decrypt your data that you use on your device. And without those keys, no one can access your data, not even us here at 1Password. We also use a really unique protocol called SRP, Secure Remote Protocol, so we can authenticate your credentials when you log in over the network so they aren't intercepted by a third party. And we maintain end-to-end encryption. So your 1Password data is always encrypted, including the metadata like stored URLs and vault items and titles. And again, only you hold the keys to decrypt it. When it comes to credentials themselves, or passwords, there are several benefits that 1Password offers, particularly for a remote workforce. The first up is credentials themselves. For the business, we can help reduce that risk and identify shadow IT. For the end user, we can help them quickly create and use high-strength passwords everywhere and wherever they are. When it comes to sharing credentials between teams or users, for the business, we can create shared vaults to help teams store those credentials securely. And for our end users, no more spreadsheets. Teams can share and use credentials securely. And then we also have a business watchtower. So for the business itself, this helps give an overview of security issues reported, including weak, reused, or compromised passwords stored in shared vaults. And for end users, they can use their own watchtower to self-identify and address issues within their individual and shared vaults. Honing in on Watchtower, the cool thing is Watchtower does the work. It serves as a security HQ for your end users. It automatically summarizes any breaches and alerts on any individual items there's an issue that you might need to address. And it's built into 1Password. Watchtower will flag weak or duplicate passwords and websites where you can turn on two-factor. All these checks happen on that user's device, so your data stays completely private. And for our IT administrators, the Business Watchtower makes it really easy to see an overall security and health posture of items stored in 1Password. Our Business Watchtower report gives you an overview at a glance, and will flag things in shared vaults like weak or reused passwords, unsecured websites, inactive two-factor authentication, or even items with expiration dates in the past or near future. Next up, focus. Probably one of the hardest things for us that work from home. And the reality is, when it comes to focus, passwords can be time-consuming. Reusing passwords is a common and insecure shortcut for users. And when we can't remember that password or are unable to log into the tool we need, this disrupts our focus. And creating new passwords or resetting them can be a hassle. And even for our IT teams, they need to spend time assisting users, resetting those passwords and logging back into their accounts, taking them away from more business critical issues. So 1Password makes this easy. First up, we have a password generator built into the tool. Strong passwords are unique and random. And so we created the 1Password generator to create a strong, secure password for you. No more having to remember the dog's birthday. We also make it easy to autofill those credentials that you create and save. So if you're tired of typing in your email, your username, and passwords, or having to remember them, 1Password makes it easy by autofilling your credentials for all your apps and website accounts. And then for our IT teams, it gives them the peace of mind. They can be confident users are creating strong, secure passwords. Business Watchtower will help them identify any issues stored in shared vaults. And this, again, leaves more time to focus on other critical tasks. When it comes to generating and saving strong passwords, the 1Password extension has your back. As we see here, I'm going through the process of creating a new account on this website. The extension helps me autofill things like my email address, fills in information from my profile card, and then suggests a strong random password. And then even helps me save it to my private vault so I can use that later. And so when I'm ready to log into those accounts, the extension helps me autofill those credentials with ease. No more having to type in my email, no more having to remember and type in that long password. The 1Password extension makes it easy. Even when it comes to resetting passwords themselves, sometimes we need to reset that password, and the extension makes this easy as well. As you can see here, I'm going to that section of the security settings to go and reset a password. So the extension is going to help me autofill my current password, generate a new strong password, and update the item that I have saved in 1Password itself. So now when I submit that change, I can go in and log in with my new reset credentials. Something 1Password also does is offer the ability to save TOTP or time-based passwords. You may have heard of these as like 2FA codes. So in the extension here, I'm able to go to that item I saved, scan the QR code, and now a one-time passcode is rolling in the item. The extension is going to autofill this passcode. And when I go back to log in with my strong password, the two-factor code is already there ready for me. This is huge for not only users, but teams that need to share accounts and need to share passcodes between those accounts. Now your teams can access those from the 1Password item itself. Speaking of shared vaults, we'll hop into shared vaults themselves. So in 1Password, shared vaults help you share information with your team quickly and securely. We want to make sure that keeping information safe means only sharing it with the people who need it, and this is where 1Password vaults comes in. We have two different types of vaults when it comes to 1Password, private versus shared. The private vault is going to be used to store work-related items that don't need to be shared and are unique to me, like my email login. The shared vault is used to store items that multiple people need access to, like shared logins, software licenses, or something like an employee handbook. With shared vaults, we can create vaults to control how information is shared. And there's a few ways that we can think of organizing these vaults. We can organize them based on teams. So we can replicate the corporate structure that allowed team leads to manage them. This is often this is the place where most companies will start. We can organize them by functions. We can use these vaults to help staff with certain roles collaborate between teams. Or we could think about projects, share a project vault with documents, logins, or even secure notes with everyone that's working on it. Other ideas are vaults based on location. So maybe you have a hybrid workforce or an office location that employees will still work out of. We can create location vaults, so it has things like the address, Wi-Fi password, or billing access codes. And then we can think of vaults that have different levels of access. So we can use vaults to restrict access to sensitive or confidential information. For example, you might want to create an executive vault, a management vault, or create tier vaults within each team. Next up, developer tools. 1Password offers a really cool suite of developer tools to help your developers secure their workflows and utilize 1Password to its fullest. One of these cool integrations that we have is with the CLI itself. So the 1Password application and CLI tool can interact with your terminals, browsers, and it can securely access, you can secure API access tokens in 1Password, and then authenticate to command line tools using biometrics and shell plugins. 1Password can also help keep secrets out of code itself. So you can store secrets within encrypted vaults and access them with your code, within your code with references that are replaced at runtime with 1Password for VS Code and other ID integrations. This ensures that as your developers are working from their devices at home, the secrets that they need to interact with are stored securely and within 1Password. Another really cool feature of our developer tools is SSH keys themselves. So 1Password has the ability to generate and store SSH keys, and then you can scan your fingerprint to use them in any Git or SSH client via the built-in SSH agent. So you can secure your SSH keys. No more having to store SSH keys on a disk on an employee's computer while they're working from home. Instead, we can create and configure modern keys directly in 1Password with a few clicks. No need to look up any commands either to create those. We can then use those keys to authorize SSH connections with biometrics. So we can use that built-in SSH agent to seamlessly authenticate with things like Git and SSH workflows with Touch ID or other biometrics. And then with Git specifically, we can also sign our Git commits. So we can get that verified badge on GitHub or GitLab commits with built-in support by the SSH key-powered signing. Here we'll take a look at creating SSH keys within 1Password, generating a key, and saving a key. And then we're ready to connect via SSH over command line. 1Password's there to allow biometrics to be used. No more having to type out or use those keys on disk. Last up here, we'll talk about our free family accounts that we offer with every 1Password business license. At 1Password, we started as a consumer product. So our product was focused around securing families and users in their personal life. And when we expanded into the business world, we wanted to ensure that we offered that same benefit of securing your personal life for every business user. So with 1Password Business, you can give everyone on your team a free 1Password Families account to use at home. There's some really great reasons to be able to do this. First up, keeping everyone's data safe. When we encourage good password habits at home, this translates to good password habits at work and vice versa. Using strong, unique passwords and getting into the habit of creating these with 1Password helps keep the data safe wherever it is, whether it's personal or business. This also helps keep work and personal information apart. By giving out 1Password Families for free, you're enabling people to keep their personal and work information apart, which is the smart thing to do. And it's also a nice bonus for your team. 1Password can help everyone stay safe online. It's a great thing to share with your team and their families. A 1Password Families membership can be used to invite up to 5 family members. So not only is your user strengthening their own personal security, but they can help their family stay secure as well. And most importantly, when it comes to this, there's no details shared when it comes to a free family account. Employers can only see whether they've redeemed this free family membership. I liken it to like clipping a coupon code. And all the information is kept private from both employers and 1Password. So when a user uses their free family account, they can ensure that it is their account, and if they happen to leave the company, they can take that account with them and still access their personal passwords. All right, that's how 1Password can help secure your remote workforce at home. Let's open up for some Q&A. Thank you.
Yes, 100%. We are ready for some Q&A. That was such a great presentation, Tyler. Thank you for that. Very interesting and lots to dig into. The questions are amazing and overwhelming, and I'm so excited to talk about them. But before we do, I do want to remind you all that we have that poll question up for you. What additional information would you like to get about the 1Password solution? So take a second now, click on that poll, let 1Pass know how they can follow up with you. What additional information can they send your way that would be helpful to get? Chris, I see you sent a high five saying 1Password has been great for your company. I love that, Tyler. You have fans in the audience. Let's dig into some questions. You ready, Tyler?
Definitely. We love our super fans.
Well, you know you've got a lot.
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm going to start with this one, Tyler. It was so funny.
Good.
We're getting a little bit of an echo here. Okay. Tyler, can we still hear you? You there?
Great. Your
Tyler,
voice sounds great. You're going to be starting your recording here in about 5.
Oh. You with us, Tyler?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, there we go.
All right, ready.
We're hearing the inside outside of the webinar there. Okay, so here we are. Let's dive in. Tyler, right when we got a question that came in that was wondering about SSH, and then you literally, it was saying how long is that going to take or how hard is it? And then you did it live in like 2 seconds. So that was perfect. To answer James' question, how hard is it to transition to securing SSH keys in 1Password? Pretty easy, hey?
Yeah, it's actually super easy. Both when you generate new SSH keys, the extensions there to kind of pop up and help create those. A good example is Git. So when you're creating that private key or authorization key, 1Password is going to be right there to generate and store it. And then existing keys, you can import them as a new item, or of course generate new keys to secure it.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to just keep cruising through these because we got a lot of questions to cover. Can we have a backup of a specific vault available offline in case of emergency?
Yeah, one of the unique things about 1Password and how it works is when you create your 1Password account, you are essentially generating 2 keys on your device and encrypting your data on your particular device. And then we store that data encrypted in our cloud servers so that when you log into a new device like an iPhone or an iPad or another Mac, you're able to grab a copy of your encrypted data and decrypt it on device. What that also means, though, is that the data that you store on your device is available offline. So you are able to unlock your 1Password account with your account password or biometrics, even in an offline scenario. So if you're on an airplane, in airplane mode, you can still access your passwords or other data.
Perfect. Okay. We got a couple of questions about compliance. You want to talk to us about 1Password being compliant with different industry security standards?
Absolutely, yeah. So I think it was mentioned SOC 2 and ISO,
yeah.
Which we are compliant. We have a website for our security audits that, to be quite frank, we're very transparent on the different security audits for our products, whether that's the extension, the web, our servers. So we have a pretty robust list of audit reports that are available. We also have a conveyor profile where you can grab things like our SOC 2, our ISO reporting, et cetera, and even get questions answered based on specifics when it comes to our security and compliance.
Awesome. All right, we are cruising through these. Does 1Password store any form of a user's password in the cloud? If so, does it check to see if that password appears online in a data dump or on the darknet?
Yeah, so so when it comes to the passwords that you store in your 1Password account, again, all that data is encrypted on our servers, so we don't have access to that, and we don't have the keys to decrypt it either. That's in the hands of you as the user. When it comes to data breaches or passwords that have been compromised, if you're familiar with the website Have I Been Pwned, we lean on them to report on any type of breached passwords, compromised emails, etc. They use the hash password service that we leverage for our business watchtower and data breach report. And on the data breach report specifically, In the 1Password business, you're able to get a kind of historical view of where your domain specifically has been exposed in breaches historically. So it's a great informational based view to see if, if any email or password, et cetera, has been exposed in a data breach. And that's not necessarily anything that's stored in 1Password or users that are in 1Password. It could be anything that's related to your domain itself.
Awesome. All right. What if we change the device or machine and we didn't remember the password as we use autofill? Oh no, that's my nightmare. I use autofill I use 1Pass for everything, Tyler. And if I ever changed devices or lost that, I don't know what I would do. What do I do?
Yeah, so again, with 1Password, you're able to log into multiple devices with your account. So, when you create your account on the web, you're gonna then, download the 1Password 8 app, log into the application, and then I'd go to my iPhone and also log into 1Password. So it ensures that whatever device I'm using, whether it's Android, iPhone, Windows, Linux, Mac OS, I have access to all the credentials and items I've stored in 1Password.
I love that the answer is redundancy. That just is always such a good, just sign it in multiple places and then you're set. That's perfect. All right, great. We are coming close to the end of time here, but I'm going to sneak in one more because customization comes up a lot. And of course, we talked about that at the start that, every organization has to kind of find the right way that works all the different styles of workforce and work these days. So when we're thinking about how applicable and customizable a product is, Lee here is wondering about that customization for a password generator. Can you set up password phrases, random words, or all the generated passwords just random characters that are specifically not memorable?
Yeah, definitely. So the password generator in the extension has a couple cool tricks. So by default, there's something called the smart password that's in play. So a smart password is where the extension is going to generate something that's random, unique, and strong, but also satisfies the requirements of that website. So if they need a certain amount of special characters, no sequential letters, the smart password is going to fulfill that and still generate a strong, secure password. But in the extension tool, you can actually adjust the way the generator creates passwords. Good call out there is like memorable passwords. I make the joke that when you go to your Apple TV or smart TV and you have to log in, it's a pain to type in, 72 random characters like the password I generated earlier. So there's an option to create a memorable password, which would be, 3 or 4 words to make it easy to remember and type. I also allude that to, like your kids' devices. My son has an iPad. I need to type my Apple ID password into there sometimes, and it's much easier for me to create a strong, memorable password so I can easily type that in on his device.
And I wish, Tyler, that we could keep going with this conversation because we have so many questions coming in. And if you have a little time to stick around on live chat and answer some of them, I know the audience would love to hear from you, and we will make sure that you get any questions remaining over email as well. But before you leave us, Tyler, I'm going to kind of throw a bonus question at you, and then I'm going to ask you how we jump in. But if you had to give us, we got a few questions wondering about 1Pass is unique. What makes you stand out? If you wanted to leave the audience with sort of one thought on what makes 1Password unique and stand out in your mind, what would that one thing be?
Yeah, definitely. I think the beauty of 1Password and the security model behind it is since inception, day one, we've maintained zero knowledge proof with our product. So our 2 secret key derivation, which allows a very strong form of encryption that's done on your device, is something that has let us develop the product not just for consumers but businesses, and maintain our idea that we don't want the keys to your data. We're not interested in storing those. We don't want to pass them over the network. We want to ensure that only you hold those encryption keys, and you're able to access your data from any device. A couple other unique things that are upcoming are out right now is the ability to store passkeys in 1Password and have those passkeys available on any device that you're using. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. And looking forward to answering some of these questions directly in the chat.
They're coming in hot and heavy still, Tyler. You definitely struck a chord with the audience. So that first step to getting started, we do have a handout for everyone out there right now. Click on that handouts link and go check this out. Tyler, I love that. I'm such a font nerd. I love that hybrid workforce font on the start of your handout. It has that like cool 1950s kind of style. Anyways, this is a great read. It's all about how to secure your hybrid workforce. We had a big chunk of you saying that you're working hybrid right now. So this is something that all of you should have. And I love that cultivating a culture of security that's in your handout, Tyler. That's a great takeaway. Is there anything else that you'd want people to kind of have in mind in terms of reaching out to your team?
Yeah, if anyone wants to reach out directly, info@onepassword.com is the way to get to us.
Nice and easy. All right, my friends. Well, we're going to keep things moving right along. But Tyler, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's been so much fun chatting with you.
Definitely. Absolute pleasure. Cheers, all. Have a great day.
All right. And to all of you clicking on that poll, keep that up. Keep those answers coming in. Keep clicking on the handouts and keep those questions coming. Tyler is here and answering some on live chat. So keep those questions rolling in. Now's the time. All right, while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and give away another prize. It is that time already. So we are going to do a $300 Amazon gift card, and then we will do a Surface Pro 9. Now, I do want to remind you that you do need to be here live and present at the MegaCast. And if you have any questions about the terms and conditions for the prizes, they are listed for you in the Handouts tab. Click into the Handouts tab, scroll down, and click on those prize terms and conditions, and you can see them all laid out for you there. All right, our next winner of a $300 Amazon gift card is Donna Taylor of Texas. Donna Taylor of Texas. And our next winner of a Surface Pro 9 is Todd Corey, also of Texas. Oh, the great state of Texas is winning today. So Todd Corey of Texas, you have won a Microsoft Surface Pro 9. To all of our winners, we will follow up with you after we wrap. Oh, Donna, I see you there. Yay, Donna says yay. That $300 Amazon gift card coming your way. And we will get that to you. Still lots more chances to win, plus that best question gift card from each session. So keep those questions coming. Oh, Vinay, I see it's your birthday month. Okay, my fingers crossed for you, my friend. Hopefully you can win either that best question card or another prize. But either way, there are lots more chances left ahead. All right, well, we are going to keep things moving because we've got lots more to get to today. Boy, is it a jam-packed MegaCast, and the fun just keeps on coming. Now, for those of you who are longtime fans of the MegaCast, you are right away going to recognize this dynamic duo, and you are definitely already pumped up because you know we are in for a treat. We are going to be chatting with John Spiegel, Director of Strategy and Field CTO at Axis Security, and Jay Tilson, also Director of Strategy, Field CTO at Axis. John and Jay, it is always so much fun to chat with you both, and I know we want to save some time for questions at the end, so I'm going to hand things right on over to you. Take it away.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us today. In this session, we're going to talk a little bit about securing the remote workforce with SSE. But before we get started, let me introduce you to your host for today. My name is Jay Tilson, and I'm joined by my colleague and my friend John Spiegel. Together, John and I have over 50 years of enterprise experience running large infrastructure and security teams. We spent the bulk of our careers sitting in your chairs and have experienced the same daily challenges as you have. And not just those technical challenges, but the cultural, budget and resource challenges also. Recently, we left our roles in the enterprise space and moved to a company called Axis Security, which is now part of HP Aruba Networking. We made this move because we both believe that networking and security are marred in complexity. And we feel that stitching together the solutions that worked in the early 2000s no longer work in this new world of the hybrid workforce. We found this approach created more challenges, and when deployed, it looked like a game of mousetrap, and we both believe there were better ways in today's world of doing it. So let's get started. I think we can all agree that over the last few years, the technology world has evolved faster than ever before, especially with the pandemic being a major catalyst for what we now call the modern workplace. Users, devices and their data are now everywhere, but the legacy security systems that we're so familiar with were not designed for this new cloud and mobile world. This has made it difficult to empower and protect our remote workers, and the bad guys know this and are using it in their advantage. As a result, cyber attacks are increasing at an alarming rate. Ransomware was named the top threat type for 2021, with the number of attacks increasing over 140% in the second half of the year alone. Ransomware damages are expected to exceed 30 billion worldwide in the coming year. And this means that in this new world of the digital citizen, securing our remote workforce is critical for every IT and security team to prioritize. So let's look at some more statistics. Ransomware was named the top threat type in 2021, but I don't think it would surprise anyone here today that it was also named the top threat type in 2022. However, there are other concerns for our security teams in today's world. Social engineering threats increased by a whopping 270% last year, and there has been over a 1,500% increase in attacks against VPNs. This attack against VPNs has led 71% of businesses to be concerned that their VPN will jeopardize their environments, and to me that's extremely concerning. This has led to a regained popularity in zero trust. Zero trust is the concept of never trust and always verify, and was first introduced by John Kindervag back in 2010. However, the move to cloud, the rise of the hybrid worker, the increase in regulatory requirements, and all of these attacks we've just talked about have contributed to making zero trust a core element of every CISO's and CIO's strategy.
Well, Jay references a new strategy is needed. Unfortunately, heritage technology is holding us back. Take, for instance, how we typically access resources as a remote employee. I'm sure you're familiar with this scenario. Let's say I need access to a remote database, where I keep updates for all the projects I'm responsible for. The scenario goes something like this. I open up my laptop, turn on my VPN. I traverse the internet, and then I am greeted by a firewall. After that, I traverse the VPN concentrator. Then it's the DDoS defense system, the NAC system, an SSL decryptor, an IPS system, and then yet again another firewall. Only to access my database, which lives where? Heck, it's out on the internet. I had to run a virtual IT gauntlet just to get my work done. And keep in mind that my packets likely crossed 8 different security products from 8 different vendors. And it's highly likely these 8 different products are not integrated in any way and are likely managed by different teams.
So John has just mentioned the journey of our average remote employee. However, let's look at some other options that we have for securing our workforce today. First, we have the hub and spoke design. This is really the progression from the old castle and moat design where everyone was inside the perimeter, but this design still focuses on having on-prem security even though users and their data had started to move to the cloud. This covers really which John talked about just now. So with this design, there is still a heavy reliance on MPLS and internal data centers, and in my experience this model is complex to configure and to administrate. You need to feed and water the applications to ensure they remain secure, and you also have to go through hardware renewal cycles and continually patch all of your systems to make sure they remain protected against attack. Then you have the next solution, virtualized cloud firewalls. This to me really is an evolution of the hub and spoke design, but it moves some of those legacy-based security systems, those hardware systems we've just discussed, out to the cloud. The aim here was to remove some of the burdens of keeping systems secure. However, in a lot of cases, this means backhauling internet traffic to your corporate data center, to the corporate network. And although this design is supposed to make things simpler to manage, in my experience, it often led to more complexity and cost. So then there is SSE. In my mind, this is the savior, and this is the design of the future that we should all be considering. This is really all about delivering all of your connectivity and security tools from the cloud. So gone are those days of patching your systems, replacing your hardware, having to maintain everything. SSE is going to stand side by side with you against the battle of the bad guys.
What is SSE, or Security Service Edge? SSE is part of a larger framework known as SASE. Introduced in 2019 by the analyst firm Gartner, SASE addresses the traditional dilemma presented to every network and security engineer when faced with how to deploy a new application. What do I favor? Speed or security? In the past, you could only select one, and we all know what the CIO prefers. Speed, because speed equals employee performance. With SASE, you can have both. You can solve the dilemma. How? By creating a network and security fabric that extends as close as possible to the employee, the third party, via points of presence or POPs. This allows applications to be accessed with both security and performance. SASE is delivered in two technology stacks. On one side, there's the WAN edge, and on the other side is SSE. How is this framework being adopted? Recently, Axis commissioned a report on SSE adoption with our partners at Cybersecurity Insiders. So let's dive into some of the results.
So let's look a little bit at the Axis Atmos platform, which is our SSE platform. The platform was designed on day one to bring networking and security together. It's really all about harmonizing what in the past was a symphony that played as individuals versus as a team. In the past, the enterprise would have to select one vendor for networking, one for security, one for DLP, one for the WAN, and one for cloud security controls, and many other point products. And as we all know, this leads to operational complexity, high cost, and ultimately poor security design. Axis, on the other hand, starts with a clean slate. It really begins with this concept that we call adaptive trust. So instead of placing the employee, the third party, the contractor, or their device on the network, Atmos starts with a series of checks to verify the identity of the user and the state of the device. Axis will then balance this request for applications and data, and if the calculation does not add up, then the employee is not granted any access. So building on this concept of adaptive trust, Atmos provides a global reach with over 500 edges, with services like SWIG, CASB, and ZTNA all being in our POPs. It brings together what were previously individual point solutions into a single integrated platform delivered via the public cloud. And this really enables secure access for all of your employees, for those remote employees, for your office workers, and for those critical third-party resources.
As you begin to research the SSE space, you're quickly going to realize that not all SSE platforms are built the same. Our focus at Axis Security, HPE Aruba, is purposefully built a single UI, leveraging one policy, and building a platform that brings together what were previously multiple point products. We also believe that we must simplify policy and inspect all traffic. And critically, we believe in leaving no application behind. Challenging zero trust protocols like voice over IP, ICMP, and even server initiated flows for patching, we can help you solve that problem. And finally, we offer choice. You can leverage our agent-based solution or go agentless. The choice of that is really up to you.
So let's break down some of the elements of SSE and talk about how we've implemented them within Atmos. As you dive deeper into SSE solutions, you will find that each solution emphasizes one of these technology areas. It could be Secure Web Gateway, as the company started there, or it could be Cloud Access Security Broker, as that was the target market they were looking at to be competitive in. We have taken a different approach with Atmos. We believe the future is about transitioning to a new security strategy based on zero trust. Only provide the resources required to perform the function, nothing more and nothing less, and then vigilantly watch for any indications of change and then adjust access accordingly. As we've discussed before, we've built our platform to deliver zero trust network access. This strategy is at the center of everything we do. It is a solid foundation that we built our technology on. We believe that the future is about delivering secure access for applications, whether they are in the cloud, in a private data center, or are SaaS based. Services must be delivered the same no matter of the location, with security checks such as MFA and posture checks to match requests, all based on business policy. We believe we have solved this in the most elegant manner for both your employees and for those third-party and contractor difficult cases we've discussed. So building on the solid foundation of ZTNA, we added features to our platform. We added Secure Web Gateway, as it's fundamental to secure your employees from the internet-based threats. We then implemented CASB as a feature to secure your SaaS assets. Securing your SaaS solution with an easy business policy is critical for us. Or maybe you also want to understand user experience and how is the application performing. So we've also implemented digital experience monitoring. You can quickly uncover where an application issue is. Is it the network? Is it the device? Or is it the application? And DEM has you covered here. And it's also worth noting that these are features, as I've mentioned, and they are configured from a single UI set on top of a single data lake. So let's look a little bit of how Atmos works. As previously stated, the Atmos platform includes all the core functions of SSE. So this means we can give access to internet, SaaS applications in the public cloud, or applications hosted in your data center, all from a single UI. So first, the user requests access. Note this can be with or without an agent. So we've got those difficult third-party and contractor use cases covered where it's difficult to install an agent. Next, the platform auto-mediates the request for access at scale. However, unlike legacy VPNs, there are no pass-through connections. Users do not get an IP address on your network and it cannot go wherever they want, whenever they want. The system then prompts for MFA and will automatically verify against your defined access policy. This is based on user, device, and application context to prevent any unauthorized access. Once everything balances, it then brokers smart and surgical connections that will help minimize the attack surface and prevent lateral movement. Please note that the platform continuously inspects the posture of the device and the user. And if anything changes, access is adapted or severed within 60 seconds. We also, as mentioned, sit on top of a single data lake for all of these services, which allows full visibility for all of your traffic. So this all adds up to protection against the bad guys, while increasing your security, reducing complexity, and reducing costs. So you may ask, what are the benefits of the Atmos Access SSE platform? So firstly, it increases your security posture, providing zero trust access to all of your services and applications. You get to eliminate your attack surface and reduce your exposure. You also get to enforce least privileged access to all applications and services, as I've mentioned before, including private applications, SaaS applications, and the internet. And this will help you protect your business against ransomware and data loss. Secondly, you get to deliver the best experience possible for end users and IT administrators. End users receive quick, seamless access to applications, services, and data every time because of our intelligent smart routing across over 1,000 edge locations. Also, IT admins can control access centrally and granularly, making it easy to secure the business from a holistic perspective. And lastly, you get to optimize your business with one solution for all of your security access needs. You get to simplify and unify networking security functions and minimize complexity by reducing the number of point products you have in play. Additionally, you also get to save money by reducing reliance on application-based security solutions, and you can effortlessly scale with our cloud-delivered platform.
And customers, they are key. Their challenges are similar to yours. Take, for instance, the City of San Jose. Their challenge was the hybrid workforce. Like many in the post-pandemic world, they'd embraced remote work, but also knew the power of creating a strong work culture. The City of San Jose adopted a 3-day remote and 2-day in the office approach. This blend allowed them to provide the best of both worlds. But if you don't have an application delivery system to support it, worker productivity declines. After conducting an extensive search, the City of San Jose selected HPE Aruba Networks SSE as their platform. Why? simplicity, as well as the ability to support challenging zero trust protocols like voice over IP, ICMP, and server initiated protocols to allow remote patching of systems while still remaining a strong security posture. For them, the days of VPN are gone. Or it could be like Procter & Gamble. Their challenge was different, third-party access. Being one of the largest multinationals on the planet, their base of contractors is high. Their need was how to secure them and how to maintain their intellectual property. In the past, this meant sending out thousands and thousands of laptops. Turn time to onboard a new contractor was roughly 24 days, and the cost was high. By moving to Access SSE, Procter & Gamble was able to leverage an agentless approach. This meant that their contractors could now leverage a BYOD approach. As a result, $10 million saved and time to value went from 24 days down to roughly 24 hours. Return on investment, sub 1 month. That's the power of the Access SSE platform powered by HPE Aruba Networks. Lastly, VisionWorks, a national optical chain. I'm sure you've seen one of their stores. Their challenge, legacy hardware. Like many companies, they were sending all of their network traffic back to the data center for security treatments. This hairpinning of traffic slowed down their business, as well as it was expensive from a hardware perspective. By moving to Access SSE, they reduced their hardware investment, optimized their network, as well as secured their clinic. The return on investment was realized fast, and the deployment took less than a month. 700 stores in a matter of weeks. Traffic optimized with zero trust security posture and visibility provided by digital experience monitoring. Wins all around. So where do you go from here? Well, that's really up to you. The key takeaway is that this is a journey. It's not a project you can accomplish in a day, a week, or a month. It's really a series of projects. The most important thing is to find business problems that you can solve leveraging this framework. An excellent first step is third-party access. Often this is an area of high cost and high risk to a business. If so, consider leveraging our agentless solution for ZTNA. And once you find success there, move on. Look to replacing your legacy VPN solution with an agent-based ZTNA solution. From there, look to consolidate your security tools. Leverage technologies like CASB or SWIG. And then continue your journey by simplifying your operational model with digital experience monitoring. Just keep in mind, like I said, this is a journey. The outcome for you and your business boils down to this: lower cost to operate, reduced vendor headache, higher security outcomes with improved employee satisfaction as you gain both speed and security when delivering those key line of business applications. We here at Access Security, powered by HPE Aruba, are here to assist you on that journey. Jay and I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We hope you found this session useful. If you'd like to discuss what you've heard today further, please feel free to scan the QR code or reach out to us directly.
All right, John, Jay, thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. And John, I know you're going to stick around and get into some questions with us in just a second. Before we do that, though, we have a poll question up for all of you. You guys have been rocking these polls today. Keep in mind that this poll is kind of not the right word. Think of it as like a shopping list. You're letting Access Security know what they can send your way. What is on your shopping list that would be helpful for you? Data sheets, white papers, case studies, whatever you're looking for. Let them know how they can follow up with you. All right, John, while the folks at home are doing that, should we get into some audience questions here? John, can you hear me okay? Uh-oh. Are you guys hearing me out there in the audience? Can you hear me? So, someone respond. Can anyone hear me? Yes. Okay. Randall says he can hear me. John, we can't hear you. Hang on. I'm going to take you out and add you back in. Let's try one more time. Oh, good. Everyone can hear me. Excellent. Great. Okay. I'm going to take John out and add him back in. Nope. Mute. Unmute. John, how we doing? Uh-oh. Okay. Well, we maybe have lost John. Okay. I'm going to tell you about the handout while we see if we can get John on the line here. There's always something, right? There's got to be something that goes wrong in every webinar. And usually we can keep it nice and so you guys don't ever have to see it or hear it. But in this case, you're seeing and hearing it. Okay. John's with us. We're just not getting the mic. Okay. Well, worst case scenario, what we'll do is we'll switch John over. Yeah, Jeffrey says, darn tech gremlins. I'm shaking. Who fed those gremlins after midnight? All right. Well, what we're going to do then is I'm going to chat about the handout. And if we can't get John in the next minute or two, we'll get John to stick around and answer all these questions on live chat as much as possible. Jeff. Oh my goodness, Jeff says we'd be out of tech jobs if everything worked perfectly all the time. What a great rephrasing of that problem. I like you switching it to the positive there, Jeff. Well said. Okay, all right. You guys keep those questions coming in and keep clicking on the poll. Also, head on over to the handouts tab. Make sure that you are looking at that handouts tab, and in particular, make sure that we've got that Atmos by Access handout. This is a great PDF takeaway. You want to download this. You want to hold on to it. You want to save it for later because it is going to be a really great way to jog your memory. John and Jay just gave us a lot of information and covered a lot of stuff all in about 20 minutes. And there's just so much more to dig into. So make sure you've got that Atmos at a glance sheet downloaded. Hold on to it because you're going to want to go back through it after we wrap. John, do we have you? Are you with us?
I don't think so. I've been trying to connect.
John, I hear you.
Oh, wow. Great. The gremlins have gone away or been vanquished.
Yes, exactly. Gremlins vanquished. John, we have like 2 minutes. So I'm just going to ask you a very, very quick question or two. And then do you have time to stick around and maybe do some live chatting with our audience?
Absolutely.
Okay, you're a hero, John. All right, let's do this one. We had a few questions about integration. So can you talk just a little bit about how it's going to integrate, if somebody has legacy tools, SIMs and SOARs, EDR, but also we got some questions about like M365, what do you got for us in terms of integration?
Yes. Yeah, so we're just one of the parts of the puzzle. So security, we provide a platform that, has multiple point products that are integrated together. You really need to think about, things like identity. So O365 identity, Azure AD, Ping, Okta, those types of things. That's an area that you need to bring to the party, as well as on the endpoint side of things. If you have CrowdStrike, we can integrate with that. Microsoft Defender, so on and so forth. Sentinel, we can integrate with that. In terms of the SIMs, we have a nice integration with most of the major SIMs out there. So Sentinel or Microsoft's version of it, the one that Cisco just bought, so on and so forth. So we're a piece of the puzzle, but we're really about delivering great application experiences and securing it from a zero trust perspective.
Awesome. Well, John, you're getting a lot of high fives out there from the audience, both for the solution and also for the presentation, and really appreciating the integrations. I think that flexibility is key, especially when we're dealing with a wide variety of infrastructure. John, I really want to keep you around, but unfortunately, the gremlins ate all our time today. So
exactly.
Right? We'll switch you over to live chat if that's okay. But before you leave us, John, if you wanted to give everyone out there a next step on behalf of you and Jay, what would you suggest as the follow-up to this presentation, getting started with Access?
Yeah, really reach out to the team here at Access HPE Aruba. If you are interested on the technical side, we offer something called the 29-minute challenge, where we can spin up an environment for you and you can take a test drive. So there's also, if you go to the Aruba website, there's also a test drive page. So my recommendation is, get out there, play with the tooling, play with the system, learn about it, and, see if it fits through your environment.
I love that. And you emphasize that every time we talk, that really getting in and trying something. And you said this, you guys said this in the presentation, and I love it. That just do something bit of it. Like you sometimes you just got to get started. Yeah. So for anyone out there that is feeling, overwhelmed by whether it's choice or opportunity, do something. Start with that 29-minute. I love that. Jump in.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's really about what we've been doing in the past isn't working. We know it. We see it in the news. So we really need a new framework going forward.
Awesome. Well, that John is a great note to end on. I'm going to switch you back on over to live chat, and John, thank you again so much for being here with us today, and to Jay as well.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right. And to all of you out there who answered when I was asking about my audio, thank you. To everyone who commiserated on the audio gremlins, thank you. And to those of you clicking on the poll, double and extra thank you, as well as for some great questions coming in. Keep those up because we've got John sticking around for some live chat. So questions rolling in. I'm also going to do a very quick prize giveaway because we have another, Ehab says, yay, teamwork. Yay. Yes, for the team. I love it. We're going to do a quick prize giveaway because then I want to get into our next and last session of the day. Okay. Oh, so it says, excuse me, Satish says, I got information from Atmos. Very well done presentation. I says, Satish, I totally agree with you. I think that was a really informative presentation. They've all been great today. Boy, I am learning a lot from our day. Let's do a $300 Amazon gift card. And then we're going to do a Microsoft Surface Pro 9. So again, a reminder that you do need to be here live and present at the MegaCast, and all the other terms and conditions are listed for you in the handouts tab. Our very next winner of a $300 Amazon gift card is Alexander Matviv of Massachusetts. Alexander Matviv of Massachusetts, you have won a $300 Amazon gift card. And our next winner of a Surface Pro 9 is going to Mercida Curti of Pennsylvania. Mercida Curti of Pennsylvania, congrats. You have won Microsoft Surface Pro 9. All right, well, stay tuned. Lots more chances to win and lots more chances to ask questions and get that $50 Amazon gift card. Mike is asking what the host name is. Mike, if you mean me, my name is Jess. If you mean who our last speakers were, that was John and Jay. All right, well, we are going to keep things rolling along here because, boy, do we have one heck of a grand finale lined up for all of you. We are going to be chatting with the Nisuni team. So Virali Patel, Senior Product Marketing Manager, is here with us from Nisuni. And Virali, I know you have a lot planned for us today. This is our last and presentation of the day, but we are ending on a high note with you and the Nisuni crew. So I'm going to step back and hand things on over to you. Take it away, Virali. Oh no, is this happening again, Virali? Oh, hang on. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
We got you now. It's one of those days, I tell ya.
Can you hear me now?
We've got you loud and clear, Virali. It's all you.
Oh God, but you know what? It's true. It's technology, something you cannot live without, but you cannot live with either. There's just no right answer or no streamlined work for it.
Exactly right. Well, we're rolling now, so we won't jinx it. All yours.
Well, it's part of the perks of being in the remote and hybrid work, right? This is kind of a remote environment. Well, talking about that, let's dive into things that I have to discuss with the audience today. So remote and hybrid work has been there for a while. I want to chat explicitly about the file access and the challenges that come with it. I think until now, a lot of businesses have tried to address these challenges with stopgap measures that have negatively impacted IT resources and have kind of fueled overall IT complexity. So with that, what we had done recently, we partnered with ESG and we kind of had some survey that came out of their research. And I thought this is a great way to start if it resonates with the audience. Do you see somewhere in these lines where you fit in with your complexity in your IT environment? So some of the biggest reasons that IT environment today is having complexes is concerns when it comes to the remote and hybrid work. There's definitely challenges with cybersecurity landscape, and they also want to increase, or they have increased their endpoints and they cannot really manage the environment around it. So I thought this was a great way to start in the complexity of our IT infrastructure and teams that might be facing in their environment around. So why am I talking a lot about this? Well, Nasuni is a file data infrastructure company at its own. And what we've uncovered in the last few deep dives with remote and hybrid work is some of the biggest hurdles that companies are trying to address. What we've seen at a fundamental level, the culprit behind IT complexity is often the sheer volume of disparate technologies that are large and that different organizations have kind of adopted. The typical enterprise can often leverage a wide variety of different platforms and point solutions to access and share data. Now, the challenges of these solutions are not interoperable. Sometimes the traditional ones are often siloed and result in data backlogs or data blockage, if I might call it that, where they just have no visibility and have limited control. And while contributing to data sprawl and adding to overall cost and complexity, they have VPN issues and bandwidth latencies as well. I think I heard that in the previous presentation itself, that VPN people want to get off it. That's something that we've heard a lot as well. And all of this kind of impacts the end user productivity and experience on a nutshell. So that's kind of what we've seen as IT hurdles. They want to consolidate the siloed data. They want a solution that's scalable. What pandemic forced us to do was adopt a bunch of solutions off an end, and they worked at that point 5 years in, 3 years in. We're realizing it's not the best value out of it. Security is something that we've heard that's something that companies are definitely concerned about. And they just want to make sure that the users have access to the data that they want to have access to. Like, these seem pretty straightforward, but these are recurring themes that companies are still trying to address holistically. So talking about files, here's an interesting data that we found, that file shares are everywhere and they hold up to 80% of the company data. And they're spending anywhere up to 50%, which goes into shadow IT, which is a big chunk when you're trying to cut corners or you're trying to be more productive or efficient with your IT spending itself. So now, what is Nisuni? Well, this is where Nisuni really comes in as well. I work for the company, of course, as benefit, but this is where I really think that Nisuni addresses the key challenges that businesses have. Nisuni straight and cut to the core, and we've realized that what we provide and what companies really want is that effortless scalability. I think scalability on demand is something that IT teams often require and are trying to navigate and have challenges with. So Nasuni was found on the basis of addressing some of these key challenges. It was born in a cloud architecture. So it's something that been designed to work in the cloud. So whether you're on-prem, off-prem, or trying to get on cloud, Nasuni helps you bridge your data and connect it into the environment that you want to see fit in. And then how do we address this all? It's with our scalable, secure, and extremely high performant edge performance that we deliver for our customers. So scalability, what I would say is that with Nasuni, you get that effortless scale. You can provision SMB or NFS file shares on demand in any location, add any amount of capacity, support a number of users, and manage it all through a single pane of glass. Security, you get you get immensely secure data platform where you could recover data within minutes of recovery points. You can recover petabytes of data in seconds, and we have an integrated ransomware protection solution that makes sure that you don't really have to think about backup and DR. I think what we've heard customers recently say with Nasuni is, it's you change something, you change nothing for the end user. It's that effortless where end users don't even realize that their entire backend has been changed the day after it's been installed itself. And that's the piece with the edge performance. You get high speed read write performance at the edge, whether you're on-prem, off-prem, any remote location around. We kind of make sure that your apps and devices are connected and your data is accessible seamlessly throughout. So when it comes to remote and hybrid work environment itself, Nasuni, yes, we house your data, but we've also factored ways where we can deliver file access. And this is a snapshot of ways that we kind of aim to do that. So we have a file sharing platform called Access Anywhere, which basically ensures that your files are easily accessible with your external parties. We have file acceleration capability that makes sure that you could accelerate your files and share them within seconds and minutes, as opposed to hours that sometimes customers have been waiting. VPN-less access, the VPN is definitely something that's been a big pain for customers throughout. So that's something that Nisuni in its entire bucket of product portfolios addresses and tackles these challenges for your businesses itself. Now, I'd love to dive into some of the capabilities that our Access Anywhere solution with Nisuni provides. What we have is a TLS enforced security platform where you can bridge in as many remote locations you have. We have customers where they have off-rig oil shows. They're in the middle of nowhere. They're photographers on site where they don't have remote activity, don't have connectivity, but kind of can loop in and get access with our platform and have access to their files through different modes of technology on their hand. You don't need VPN, or you can always keep VPN if you need, as per your company policy. So it's really flexible in those terms, and it makes sure that you're not bottlenecked by your limited bandwidth capacity or network latency. That is a big issue for remote and hybrid work in general. So this is something that I personally use, and I've heard great pieces around it, is the external file sharing. Now, I'm sure a lot of you now, what are the ways that we share content right now? Well, if you're really old school, you'll have an FTP clunky protocol that takes forever to share your information. We've had customers where they manually ship petabyte or terabytes of data via hard drives on locations just so that they can make sure that it's secure. And then we have emails, which we've all known gets lost, and there's always a proliferation of data when it comes to these platforms. Or the third case, which gives IT nightmares, is when you take these endpoint solutions and they have no visibility, and that's where the risk of shadow IT really gets amplified. And that's when Asuni's kind of adopted this tier where it gives you access from that single source of truth for your data. It's that data lake that you have. You can share your content with external or internal collaborators. It doesn't leave the platform. So imagine you don't have to worry about file size limits. You don't have to worry about duplication of your files. You do not have to worry about different multiple file versions that come in when you send one copy, receive another copy, edit, send, edit again, and that entire loop that comes in with collaboration that sets bottleneck. And then for IT itself, we've permissions, IT can govern your file sharing experience. You can set expirations, you can limit downloads, you can unshare content that you've shared, which is pretty cool in my opinion. You don't need to share that content with anybody any longer. You could just delete the link and you have control over your content throughout. And that's kind of what security is. I think Sony's devised this with security in mind. We authenticate the users that are at the end. You have integrations with AD, the LDAP, SAML. Two-factor authentications are honored throughout. We have an entire audit log that makes sure you can trace behavior of the file from the time it was created, the time it was shared. You can even go back if you have requests around where did this file go. You can trace that back with our audit logs. And then security at its finest. I think file sharing policies are governed. We have watermark capabilities to ensure that files are not leaked outside and compromise the data integrity at its whole. And then here's a snapshot of what an IT person can handle from their end. We can give complete autonomy to what kind of file sharing experience customers want to set for their end users, which is pretty powerful, assuming it's all within a single platform. And then the other piece that's really exciting about Access Anywhere is the file transfer acceleration piece that we have. We had a customer who told us before they'd adopted this piece that it took them almost over 2 hours to share something, which now literally takes them half the time to share in a matter of like just with a drag and drop feature from their web piece itself. So we've really optimized the way that large file sharing takes place. I think if you have files such as AutoCAD, Media, you're well aware of how tedious the process is. Indeed, performance sometimes is so bad. We have teams who go on site and then make sure that they download and upload the content they need. And then they go home to work on those files and come again the next day to make sure that it's uploaded and it's kept in sync. So these are some of the workflows that Access Anywhere kind of streamlines to provide you that high performance edge at your office environment or at your remote environment, no matter where you are. And those are kind of some of the pieces that Nisuni's designed our products to fit the needs for your remote and hybrid work environment as such. On a closing note, what we've heard and what we've seen is that users need access to all appropriate corporate data. Now, whether they are on-site or off-site, whether they are in between a transition or whether they're just not wanting to work around, I think that uniformity of experience is something that that end users are kind of struggling with, and we're hearing from our IT leaders coming up to us and asking ways to mitigate that. I think the ideal solution is something that ensures that end user experience is non-disruptive while simultaneously providing better performance and security without compromising governance for all the corporate file data, which is kind of what IT wants, is data silos. You want to make sure they are consolidated. You want to make sure the right people have access to the right data. And that's when Asuni's put in considerable energy in providing a way for organizations by offering a single source of truth, regardless of their corporate file data size, data limits. The users can have access to their data. IT teams, in the meanwhile, have a solution that's easier to manage and is scalable. And it all kind of provides that better control, visibility, and cost reduction in the long term, which is very important with scalability. With that, any other thoughts or any questions that the teams might have? I'm happy to take some questions. If you want to learn more about Nisuni, please reach out at nisuni.com. Our team's always happy to grab on a call. You can request a demo as well if needed.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. And we're going to get into some questions because we got a lot of great questions coming at you. But before we do, I'm just leaving this link up for a second here because I want everyone to click on that. But I'm just going to move over to the poll. And so again, this is the poll. We've always said poll, but I'm really feeling like that's the wrong word. It's the shopping list. This is your wish list. What would be helpful for you to hear back from Nisuni? What additional information would you like? So think about what would be helpful for you. What is the best way for you to learn or pass information on to your team? And click on that poll and let Nisuni know how they can follow up with you. While you guys are doing that, we are going to dive into some audience questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Let's start with this one here, Virali, because this actually came up a couple of times for folks wondering about integrations. We talked about it a little bit in our last session as well. So in particular, Microsoft 365 always, comes up, but can you talk to us a little about what kind of integrations are going to play well with Nisuni?
Oh, so Microsoft 365 is actually our partner as well. So when I talk about file access, we integrate with the entire Microsoft Office tool. Teams is another platform that we partner with. So if you're a Teams user in your Teams environment, you can have Nisuni, you have access to those files, and directly you're kind of not disrupting that workflow itself. So we're highly integratable with Microsoft Teams when it comes to Office applications, when it comes to certain applications that you're using. Nisuni at a core level is compatible with almost all of the applications that major industry sections would be needing for.
Perfect. Okay. And actually, we got a follow-up question that I think dovetails really nicely onto that, wondering how does Nisuni facilitate the integration of its solutions with an organization's existing IT infrastructure and applications?
Well, that's an interesting one. So, of course, we have an entire team of SAs that would make sure that we understand what kind of IT infrastructure you're looking for. So, at a fundamental level, if you're on-prem versus if you're looking to move to the cloud, or you have on-prem infrastructure, Nasuni is very compatible. We are a hybrid platform, so we support both of those ends as needed. We also partner with the leading cloud providers, so Amazon, AWS, Google, they all are channel partners. We work with them to ensure that our product is compatible with those buckets itself. And then in terms of infrastructure, as I said, it's pretty versatile. It's not very friction. It doesn't induce any friction for the end users, and it works across the globe. I think we've had our IT teams cater the data lakes depending on the user's environment. So if you have sites across the globe, you have a multi-site or uni-site location itself, our infrastructure is solid enough to facilitate that.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's really important, that global reach. And for a lot of organizations, it's so complex with different styles of workforce and then across different countries. Question here, wondering about storage. So is there a limit on storage, or is it dependent on what plan you sign up for? And then Greg says cloud storage can become an ever increasing project and price tag. So how does that work?
Well, we have a pricing strategy for core Nasuni tier base. So of course, there's certain bands that we choose, and then you upgrade and you move around according to that. So I would say it's a tiered pricing, but pretty competitive. It's much more robust, and I'm happy to vouch with some of the customers that we have on board. Would be happy to have a discussion and let them be the voice of how it's worked for them when it comes to pricing and storage growth and scalability, which is a question that a lot of customers have.
Yeah, and it sounds like there'd be an opportunity to work with your team on, do we actually need this higher band, or can we be more efficient with what we've got, and that's really great. And follow-up question here. Let's see. Is there a contingency or alternate plan for any data that has been compromised? Yeah, and then Greg especially says ransomware.
Oh, well, ransomware is also. We definitely have one of the best disaster recovery platforms that I've seen across. Ransomware is definitely something that it's one of those things where you don't need it until you need them, but we have one of the most robust ransomware protection add-on services, and something that we really qualify for. We have snapshot retentions, which makes sure that even a minute of your data is not lost. Like 15 minutes was the lead time we had last time. So imagine if your site is hit with ransomware, if you're backed up in a way that you're recovering every few minutes, you wouldn't lose that ounce of data, which is pretty powerful when it comes to terabytes of data that's at jeopardy.
Jeez. Yeah, that's so important. And I love what you said, you don't need it till you need it. And I think and I hope we've convinced everyone now that they should get it and need it before they need it. But yeah, then you're feeling you're sailing through when it happens, rather than in a mad panic and scramble. But yeah, that sounds like a really great system. I'm going to try to squeeze in one more question here before we start to wrap up. Are there access permissions and role-based access control within Nasuni file sharing system?
Yes, so we adhere to the Active Directory permission setting. So whatever infrastructure you're right now following, you get to decide the permissions and the ways that you want to govern that. When it comes to the file access that goes into the nitty-gritties, you have additional end user privilege, but at the same time, it honors the Active Directory set by your organization.
Awesome. Okay. I love that. That's a great system. And I do want to point out that Greg, who had asked a couple of those questions, chimed in and said, great answers. So thank you so much for that. Virali, before we start to wrap up, for anyone out there that is feeling really excited and wants to jump in with Nasuni, and there's clearly quite a few out there, what would you recommend as kind of the first step for getting to know you?
Well, I think feel free to reach out on the website, request a demo, or get on a contact us page, and we are more than happy to connect with the audience itself or with the prospects that we have. I think the website would be the best place that I would suggest you go and just request a demo or a conversation with our sales team.
That's awesome. Okay, and we do have a handout for everyone out there, and that's the Enterprise Strategy Group Nasuni Remote Work white paper. So there's a really, really great takeaway from our conversation here today, looking at the specific challenges of remote and hybrid work and how that could be addressed with the Nasuni file data platform. So that is a great paper to download and read through. It's, I think, like 3 or 4 pages long, so it's a relatively easy read and jam-packed with information. Virali, thank you so much for being here with us today. You know, before you take off, I'm just going to ask, because you're our grand finale, so I'm putting you on the spot here. If you had one takeaway that you wished everyone in the audience would kind of walk away thinking about, whether it's an action step or a question they're asking themselves, or a resource or something, what would you want that kind of one key thought or takeaway to be?
With regards to the topic itself, or with regards to Nasuni?
I mean, hey, whatever you've got, Nasuni, yeah, whatever pops into your mind.
Well, you know what? I love the topic that we're in here today, which is remote work. And what I would take away is that it suddenly accelerated a different set of challenges for customers. And what I would request or take away is that look at your vendor, choose an option that is more of partner for long term and not for those point solutions. And I think the pandemic was a perfect example where we adopted a lot of different things and not really carved out the growth for it. That's one question, one takeaway or suggestion, irrespective of whichever vendor or solution that companies are embracing. But it's really come down to that scalability and growth, which is much more important now that we're going in with all the hiccups than before. Like, that's one takeaway that I would share.
That's a great takeaway, because I think, one thing that maybe we're seeing is to your point, when COVID hit and everybody changed quickly, we sort of just jumped into things, right? Like, we just needed fast solutions. And now we need to reshift that mindset. We might still be a little more reactive rather than proactive. And I think, what I'm hearing from you, or what I sort of struck me about that, was a suggestion to think proactively and think strategically, and really be careful about the partners, or selective about finding the right partners for you, which I think is great advice. And you've certainly made a great argument for Nasuni being one of those partners. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate you being here with us today. It has been so much fun chatting with you.
Thank you.
All right. And to everyone out there who is clicking on that poll, that shopping list, keep that coming. Dean says, another great presentation. I agree. What a day it has been. And I wish we could keep going. I hate when we get to the end of our sessions. I always feel like there's more to talk about and more to dig in. And like I said at the top, this style of presentation or topic is such an interesting one, because it's so varied, because it's got so many layers to it. And I feel like we got to unpack some of those layers all together today. Oh, Michael says, I wish this were longer too. Thanks, Michael. I wish we could spend the whole day together, but luckily the fun's not over entirely, because we do have another prize giveaway. So keep answering that poll, keep clicking on those handouts. Make sure you've got all those handouts, the links and the PDFs downloaded and set aside. You're going to want them after we wrap. I will read through our next 2 winners, and then I will read the entire prize list. So our final winner of a $300 Amazon gift card, again, who is live here and present at the MegaCast with us today, and that is Dennis Gruber. I wanted to say Gruber. I wanted to go die hard on it. Dennis Gruby of Pennsylvania. You have won a $300 Amazon gift card, and I'm sure you had to deal with your share of diehard jokes growing up, Dennis, so I won't make any more. And then our next Microsoft Surface Pro 9 is going to Zach Rickman of Wisconsin. Good old Wisconsin. All right, Zach Rickman of Wisconsin. All right, now I'm going to read the whole list here. Gift card, Amazon gift card, $300 going to Jeffrey Drury of Kentucky, also to Donna Taylor of Texas, to Alexander Matviv of Massachusetts, and to Dennis Gruby of Pennsylvania. And then we have a Microsoft Surface Pro 9 going to Todd Curry of Texas, Mercida Curti of Pennsylvania, and Zach Rickman of Wisconsin. I'm trying not to do my Wisconsin accent when I say that. Wisconsin, that's the homeland there. I have it's been a long time since I lived in Wisconsin, but I do love that area. So I'm excited to see a Wisconsin winner. I'm excited to see all our winners. You guys are all great. And speaking of winners, everyone who asked a question today is entered to win that Best Question gift card. So keep those questions coming in, because we will review all the questions after we wrap, and we will follow up with that Best Question winner. Yeah, Justin says on Wisconsin. I agree. Badgers. Okay. Anyways, before I get sidetracked, I could just sit here and chat with you all day. But we will wrap things up. Go Hawks, Rick. All right. We're gonna go down a college football and sports rabbit hole real quick here. So I'll just remind you all about the Best Question gift card. Stay tuned for that. I'm also going to remind you about the ransomware.org website. If you haven't spent some time on ransomware.org, make sure you do. Great follow-ups and takeaways and important resources there. I do also want to remind you all that if you are here on the MegaCast and thinking that it would be really fun to join in this conversation, clearly it is. We have nothing but good times here, even with the tech gremlins. We have a great session. So please do give us a shout at connect@actualtechmedia.com and let us know if you'd like to join in the conversation. We would love to get to know you a little bit better. So send us a message if you would like to present your solution at an EcoCast, a MegaCast, a webinar, whatever you have in mind. All right, my friends. Well, with that, we are finally here at the close of our session. What a day it's been. I have to extend a huge thank you to Palo Alto Networks, to 1Password, Access Security, and Nasuni for making this EcoCast possible. To all of our incredible speakers, what a wonderful day. And especially to all of you, out there for taking time out of your day. I know how busy things are. And as we talked about, the remote workforce, the hybrid workforce, the in-person, not everyone was in the category of, I love where I'm currently, what kind of style I'm in. Some of you were absolutely loving the style you're in. Some of you were really wishing for something different. And that means that you might be having a bit of a stressful day, and you took time out of your busy and stressful day and spent it with us talking about how to better improve the workplace for yourself and for all of your colleagues. And for that, I am very grateful. And if your colleagues knew that you were doing it, they would be grateful too. I'm sure a lot of what we do is behind the scenes, right? A lot of what we do is the infrastructure that supports things, and we don't always get the applause and the accolades that we probably deserve. A lot of you out there, I think, are well deserved applause. And so I'm giving you those applause today for taking the time to come and learn and be a part of this conversation. It has been so much fun chatting with you all. And I hope that you're feeling really well prepared to tackle some of these challenges and opportunities that are available to these remote and hybrid workplaces, because boy, they really are opening up a lot of opportunities. And yes, also some of those challenges. Tyler, I see you. Thank you as always for bringing the positivity. And to all of you out there, it's been one heck of a day today. So I hope you'll all come and join us again soon. We do have a MegaCast coming up on Tuesday, October 24th. That's next Tuesday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. So coffee time for the Pacifics and lunchtime for the Easterns. And that is architecting the technology pillars of 2024 and beyond. Architecting the technology pillars of 2024 and beyond. I promise not to make a bunch of Buzz Lightyear jokes. Okay, actually, I 100% promise that I will make a lot of Buzz Lightyear jokes on Tuesday the 24th. So come join us for that conversation. It is going to be a wonderful time. As always, thank you. I'm seeing all the wonderful high fives and hellos coming in. Appreciate you all. I hope that we'll see you all again on Tuesday or at a webinar again soon. And until then, I hope you all have an absolutely beautiful end to your day.